ready to see the world's most complete fighter do what he does best. This story is about Wes, one of the most promising MMA fighters of the last decade. His next fight will be against his best friend Johnny. For several years they were training partners, but now the crowd wants to see them beat the hell out of each other to see who is the best. When the fight begins, we see that Johnny doesn't plan to remain just Wes's sidekick. He's ready to take the center stage and starts winning the match. With a series of kicks, Wes is surprised and nearly knocked out. But in the end, as the protagonist, he wins impressively with an incredible kick worthy of slow motion. The crowd's euphoria is overwhelming, but before Wes can be crowned, a deathly silence takes over the stadium. Johnny doesn't get up and the doctors declare him dead. Shortly after, grief overwhelms Wes. 4 years he and Johnny were inseparable. Now he has died and left a family behind. With a time jump, we travel to Thailand, where Wes is now living. He hadn't fought professionally for over a year. The flashbacks of the kick that sent his friend to St. Peter torment him, and he can barely sleep. To sleep, he drinks day and night, but even that doesn't make him forget his biggest mistake, as money is needed. He has found himself needing to fight in street clubs against opponents of all styles, yet still managing to remain the winner in every match. One night he was invited to fight in a slightly more glamorous place, a penthouse where the rich enjoyed his fighting moves, and he ended up catching the attention of one of them. His name is Aldrich, and when the fight ended he approached Wes to offer him an opportunity. He wants him to travel to Myanmar and fight for him. If he wins, he'll receive $500,000, all his to do whatever he wants. The next morning they take a helicopter to the jungle, where Aldrich meets an army general and his friends. There Wes meets Sparto, Landon, and the beautiful Sophia. They welcome him and feel his muscles to see if he's as strong as Aldrich said. Soon after, a man in hunter's clothing named Jacob and his cowardly son Toby appear. They're very excited about the event and thank Aldrich for the invitation. Each person around the table is extremely wealthy, but what Wes hasn't seen yet is his opponent. So Aldrich sums things up for him in a very simple way. They are his opponents, and the entire jungle is his ring. Then he throws him a bag with gemstones valued at $1 million. If he can get out of the jungle with them, he will win, but they will start hunting him right after he crosses the starting line. To avoid ending the game too quickly, the general brought several strong men for them to practice with. These men are not very smart and end up dead quickly. Wes refuses to join their game and heads to the helicopter, but the soldiers aim at him, awaiting the order to execute. Finally realizing he has no choice, he grabs a canteen and escapes into the jungle. While he runs, the rest prepare, grab their favorite weapons, and start the hunt. As he's caught at a waterfall's edge, there he tries to drink, but a bullet knocks the canteen from his hands. Quickly, he dives into the water and hides, waiting for the right moment to attack. When the man with the rifle gets close enough, Wes emerges from the water like a crocodile and attacks him, ending his life and weakening the forces of the men hunting him. The rest appear shortly after, and although they regret the death of their partner, it gives them a dose of adrenaline they hadn't felt before. Finally, Aldrich seems to have found a decent rival for them. While they discuss what to do, Landon activated his hidden camera, recording everything, maybe for the thrill or to betray his partners. Meanwhile, Wes reached a clearing full of elephants. There he meets his caretaker, who initially mistakes him for a hunter. But Wes explains that he just wants to reach the border, and she guides him to the right path. Unfortunately, they don't see Aldrich following him with a drone and quickly nearing his position. Suddenly, several motorcycles appear, and with a move borrowed from Jean-Claude Van Damme, Wes gets rid of them. To keep Ta safe, Wes steals a motorcycle and escapes through the forest, with Sophia close behind. Later, she catches up to him and using her rapid-fire crossbows, knocks him down. Wes flees on foot, so she calls him a coward, and Wes turns around ready to fight her hand-to-hand. As expected, Sophia is no match for Wes, who knocks her out with a kick. Back with Ta, Jacob has caught her and plans to abuse her. Krotovi refuses to watch and leaves, giving Ta a chance to defend herself. By the time Wes finds her, she had killed Jacob alone and Toby was still waiting on the motorcycles. Aldrich arrives and shows him his father's corpse, all because he was too cowardly to watch his back. After roughing up the boy a bit, they activate the emergency plan by turning on the GPS in the bag of rubies given to Wes. as he's very close to the border and they can't risk him escaping. Once near his position, Toby, enraged, vows revenge for his father, grabs a rifle and runs into the jungle upon seeing Wes. Wes opens fire, but no bullet comes close to injuring him, unlike the boy. Wes has the bow he took from his father and puts an arrow in his shoulder. The boy falls on a mine and his body turns to dust due to the strong explosion. That takes Wes to a cave that his brother built. They can hide there. He hasn't visited it since he disappeared 4 days ago, but maybe he's onto a clue. Upon arriving at the cave, they find his brother there. He's injured but still breathing. The general kidnapped him, and he was one of the men brought for Aldrich's amusement. The cave is very well hidden, but the GPS guides the bad guys directly to it. The next morning, Wes wakes up and Z is gone, along with the package containing his rubies. He quickly runs to find her, but discovers that Aldrich has already done so. He has the brothers on their knees and wants to know where Wes is. Wes appears behind him and takes Landon hostage, grabs the camera he has been using, and uses it to negotiate with Aldrich, who would be happy to kill them both. But the camera has their faces and he needs it. He can't take the risk. So he releases the brothers and Wes tells them to run, but they run into Sophia. Since her brother can't fight, Taz stays to face her, and we have an exciting and sexy women's fight, from which Taz emerges victorious. And to escape, Wes jumps off the bridge and escapes, managing 2 meters downstream. He takes the camera's memory and throws it to the shore, where Aldrich finds it and questions Landon. Landon, who earned his millions by making video games, admits that he plans to create a first-person game, intended to use the images as inspiration and nothing more. But Aldrich has neither the patience nor the calm for such nonsense, so he offers him a real experience he will never forget. Stabbing his knife into his neck and leaving him to bleed out by the riverbank. Now that numbers are greatly reduced, Aldrich must ask the general for help. Wes hides as best he can, but wonders why Aldrich keeps finding him. So he checks the bag and finds the GPS. With a new plan, Wes gives the rubies a memory to escape with her brother. He'll take the GPS and lure Aldrich away. With this in mind, he steals a boat and heads to the border, while Aldrich and the general's soldiers chase him. Esparto, who stayed behind to watch, finds his brother and attacks. Because of his injuries, he can't fight, making his death nearly certain, except for his sister, who arrives in time, and together they face Esparto, stabbing him in the abdomen with a rod and throwing him into the water. Wes reaches the bridge dividing Myanmar and Thailand. He just needs to cross to the other side, and he'll be free. But Aldrich appeared in a helicopter and lands right in the middle. The villagers ran, but a little one was left behind, a child who now has Aldrich's gun to his head and whose death depends on Wes surrendering and dying for him. Wes comes out of hiding and Aldrich releases the boy, but he wants to know where the camera's memory is. Our hero tells him he swallowed it and Aldrich laughs. Now he just has to kill him and throw him into the lake. The alligators will do the job for him, but first he's in the mood for some entertainment. So he sends for 5 fighters and offers them a life-changing sum of money if they manage to defeat Wes. Don't ask us where he got them from. They were just there waiting for a demented millionaire killer to show up. Wes not only defeats the fighters individually, but also all together. Then, when Aldrich tries to kill him, he uses a man as a shield, lunges at him, takes his weapon, and controls the situation. Wes points the gun at his face and tells him to run. Now the game has changed, and he will be the hunter. But the general appears with his men complicating the situation. Aldrich yells to kill Wes, but the general demands another $100,000. This is nothing for Aldrich, but Denda appears and offers the general the bag of rubies to do the right thing and protect the village from the American hunters. The general sides with the villagers and orders his men to lower their weapons. Furious, Aldrich seizes the distraction to grab his gun and kill Wes, but soldiers send him to the other world first. The movie ends with Wes getting the girl and opening a fighting school in the village, where all the children will learn combat from the most complete fighter in the world. Watch some of these videos, or when these kids grow up, they'll kick your